I'm Aria and welcome to today's speed build. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today I am building an overgrown fantasy castle, as I'm sure you have guessed from the title. So I try and keep up with everybody that I follow on the gallery, which there's a few, because I like to follow everyone who's creative and inspires me, so I have a couple hundred people on there that I follow. But lately a lot of the uploads that I've seen have been sims that are kind of fantasy inspired, so fairies, elves, that sort of thing. I think a lot of them are for Duvan's medieval save file that I made a castle for a couple of weeks ago. I think a lot of the sims are being created for that, and this isn't for the save file, this is just me trying to make things make sense in my head. So I took inspiration from those sims that have been created, and I thought I would build somewhere for them to live. And I saw a couple of images and things on Pinterest that don't look anything like this, but I kind of took inspiration from them. One of them in particular was this image here, which I believe the caption actually says that it's the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which I've only ever seen this image, I've not seen any others, so I'm not really sure, but I really liked the image itself, and I liked the curved staircase and all of the flowers in the water. So I started off trying to build something like that image, which is what you are seeing now. I used the benches from Romantic Garden. I think I use pretty much every item from the Romantic Garden pack, but I used those benches and put them onto a second floor and lower them down with tools so the stairs are functional, and then go to create this kind of pond area which ends up being the front of the castle. So I wanted it to have like a nice curved kind of look to it, so I rotated some of these little wall pieces from I think Jungle Adventure, and then these I don't remember what they're called, but they're from the Spa Day pack. I think they're like little stepping stones that you can walk, your sim, not you, your sim can walk over like a fountain kind of tall pond type situation on. And I've just used them to create a nice kind of curved effect to make it look like there's a curved pond, even though we can't do curved ponds, but I thought it just looked nice, so that's why I done that. And I just finished decorating this. I wanted to make sure that I liked the look of it before I went on to build the rest of the castle, because I wasn't really sure what I wanted it to look like at first, so I just started doing this and got a little bit carried away. I shared some pictures on Twitter and a lot of people seemed to like it, so I just carried on with it. So I'm really happy with it. I'm really pleased with how it looks. The only thing that I didn't like was how it looked on this corner here. So I use these fence end posts from the debug menu from Get Together, and then just changed the sizes slightly with tool and rotated them to kind of make it look like they were the edge of where the stairs are. And I like the look of it. So anyway, now we are on to actually creating the shell for the castle. So this ended up being a lot bigger than I had originally planned for. I don't really know what I planned for originally actually, but when it came to finishing it, it was bigger than what I had intended it to be. So unfortunately I didn't finish furnishing it. I did put a poll on Twitter asking kind of what I should do. Should I leave it as a shell? Should I basically should I furnish it? Basically, that doesn't make any sense. Should I put some basic furniture in there, you know, just to kind of give you an idea of what I had in mind for the layout, or should I just suck it up and fully furnish it? and 60% said just to, you know, upload it as a shell. 30% said to just give it basic furnishings. So what I ended up doing was just putting down like the core furniture pieces just to make it obvious where I had intended things to go, but it's not overly decorated to the point that, like, if somebody downloaded it as a shell and wanted to furnish it with CC, for example, then, you know, it's not going to take much just to delete, you know, a counter and a cooker and a fridge and a bed. So hopefully that's okay. So what I originally was trying to do with this was I wanted it to be up on like a hill or a platform, and then put these arches in so that I could create like a waterfall that comes from the back of the castle underneath the castle into the pond at the front. But I realized that that meant that I would be one level less and I really wanted this to have multiple levels, and I end up using one of the floors in the roof a little bit later. So it's actually a 3-floored like castle. I got carried away when I was trying to figure things out and ended up building like 90% of the shell off camera, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, like I said, it just ended up, I got carried away and it was a lot bigger than I had intended. So what I am doing right now is rotating these benches from Romantic Garden to try and create some kind of turret decoration. I copy and paste them onto all of the other turrets a little bit later once I finished, so I needed to do it once, luckily. But I realized after I had done this, when I go back to decorate the towers themselves, not just the roof pieces, that there was a simpler way of doing this, and I actually did it the long way around, and it took me way too long. But I end up figuring out an easier way of doing it a little bit later, which you'll see. I go with this nice kind of light grey, when I actually put it down, nice grey roof tile. I end up changing it, I changed my mind, for all of the towers, and go with a glass roof because I end up putting I don't know whether it's actually a fountain or whether it's just like a fountain like sculpture with plants in from Romantic Garden Pack, and put that in the roof to kind of create like it almost looks like a greenhouse but on the top of the roof. And I thought it was, you know, really pretty, which was my kind of intent for this whole build, was I just wanted it to look wild and, you know, beautiful, because most wild things are in my opinion. And that was kind of the whole, I don't know, end goal of this, was just to make it look like it was, you know, obviously built by, I don't know, elves, fairies, whoever you want to live here, but I also wanted it to look like it fitted in with something that was very naturey, you know, like a forest or somewhere that just had lots of trees. I think if I was going to play in this myself, I would probably add a lot more trees around the outside of the lot, maybe with the tool mod, because obviously this lot is in Windenburg, but it's just very plain around the outside. There's a couple of trees that you can see off into the left of the screen just a second ago. I think they were there. They're not originally there in the game. They've been moved with a tool. But I built something here. I think it was my Pele's Castle build. I think I built here, and I put the trees down the back, and then they ended up clipping into the building. So I used tool to move them back slightly from the build, and which actually put them off a lot, which I didn't intend, but there they still are. So I tried to create like a nice kind of, I don't know, detailed feature here, because I can't obviously connect the two different floor pieces without stairs and things. It meant that with the curved platform here, there was a massive gap between, you know, where the stairs stop and start, or the top and the bottom of the stairs. So I tried to cover them up with it, like I tried to cover the gap up with these plant pieces. These are from Jungle Adventure. I did originally use the other ones, but I thought these ones matched that kind of arch thing from Romantic Garden. So on this big giant tower here, I basically did what I did a minute ago with all of those benches, but I wanted it to look a little bit different, so I end up using the sides of the benches instead of the back. I really liked the pattern on these benches, and the whole point of me using this pack in the first place was because a lot of it looks like it's covered in algae, which I really like. And see there, I just used the rotate around center feature that is with the latest update of the tool mod. I completely forgot that it even existed, so I made more work for myself by not using it, and once I remembered that it was there I actually used it on to make this top tower piece here, which is literally just that giant fountain thing that's got plants in. Well, I think I sized it up like 3 times to make it huge. And then like the arch pieces, 2 different sizes of the fence and the benches. So it looks like it's kind of a bit crazy and lots of different items, but it's not. It's quite simple, or at least I thought it was once I finished it. But I really liked the look of it, so I just kind of carried on. I didn't really know what I was doing when it came to the roofing, mostly because I had no idea what this shell was going to look like. I hadn't planned any of it, so when it came to roofing I realized that I had actually like shot myself in the foot, so to speak. So yeah, it took me about 8 hours to just do the roofing. So this build has taken me about a week to do, and I had just over 12 hours of footage, mostly of me kind of just spinning around the camera and changing my mind and not having any idea what I was doing. But majority of it was just roofing, which is a shame. But we get there eventually. So for some reason here my game was glitching and was disappearing all of my fences, and every time I put like a gate down, the fence would disappear and it wouldn't come back. I'd have to like shut the whole game down and reopen it up again before the fencing would come back, which very annoying. I'm not sure why it did that. I'm not sure whether it's just me or I don't know. But I also had the glitch that I know is definitely not me, because I've seen other people's speed builds where it's happened to them too, and that is where the game doesn't recognize the top of a wall, like the floor or the roof piece. So when you go to put a roof piece down, it like snaps to the grid of the floor underneath or the floor of the terrain, not where you're trying to place it. So it's very annoying, and I found that it's mostly on diagonals for some reason, which this one and another build that I did, I think it was my crafter's house, I built like a shed on a diagonal, and the game wouldn't recognize where I was trying to put the roof, and it kept on snapping to the floor underneath it and not where I was trying to put it, and it was very, very irritating. But this castle is built entirely on a diagonal, so I had quite a lot of issues with the roofing in this particular one. So I don't use any terrain tools in this as much as I kind of wish that I had. I end up just decorating the like the foundation that you can see sticking out of the ground. I obviously nothing snaps to it, so I couldn't add things like you normally would, which is why tool comes in handy. Gosh, I can't speak today. It comes in handy quite a lot with this. So a lot of what I do with the towers, I think I show you like one section that I do, but then I copy and paste everything onto all of the towers, so that part takes me like no time at all, which I'm very grateful for. Because otherwise, if without all, this would have taken me a very long time. So here I was trying to make the roof pieces look interesting. As you can see, I still haven't like fully roofed the whole place, so I don't really know why I thought this was a good idea, because I have to redo a lot of this a little bit later. But I wanted it to just look interesting and unique. I'm not really sure whether I achieved that, but yeah, it's on several different levels. So what I mean by that is I've added 2 towers in the back in the gaps that you can kind of see right now, and they're not connected to the like the whole build itself. They're just standalone towers that I have raised the foundation up quite a lot, so that it looks like there's more levels to the castle than there actually is. That's probably cheating, and obviously they can't be used as rooms because they are like platforms that I have raised all the way up to the top. But I think they look really cool, and from the front of the castle I think they just give a really nice I don't know whether you could call it a silhouette, maybe. I don't know, it just makes it look so much bigger than it actually is. But when you're actually playing it, it's not actually as big. But I still think it looks nice. So here I am, as you can see, struggling with trying to figure out the roof. It took me a pretty long time, and I've tried to cut out all of me just like spinning the camera around trying to get different angled looks at it, but this is what I end up kind of going with. I do change it ever so slightly before I finish, but this is mostly kind of what it looks like. There's a couple of pieces that I wasn't really sure about, and I'm really finicky, so if the different roof pieces don't like line up and match exactly, it really bothers me, and I don't know why, because it really doesn't matter, but it just bothers me. So I spend a lot longer than I probably need to trying to tweak it and make sure that it, you know, looks right. I haven't added any chimneys or anything to this because obviously I didn't furnish it, so I didn't add any fireplaces, but you know, there's plenty of roofing for you to add fireplaces. Why you don't add fireplaces on the roof? For you to add chimneys if you wish to. So what I am doing right now is just adding some more detail to the kind of edges where I was trying to cover things up. I was trying to make things look nicer, and I just wanted it to look a little bit more 3D in places, which is why I added those fence posts to like the square sections of the floors, the walls. I don't know what I'm talking about. But we're adding some wall paint now. I think I use I think it's the Vampires wallpaper, and then it's like a base game tile, I think, to where like the dark bit is at the bottom and then the white on the top. I'm pretty sure it's a tile, but I wanted it to look a little bit different but still kind of matching. So here I am making the windows, I guess like a template, so that I can copy and paste onto all of the other towers. So I use the windows from the Strangerville pack. I think I've resized these ones to 1.5 times their original size, and then move them kind of where I want them, and then it's easy enough for me to copy and paste these onto all of the other towers. And These are the same benches that I had used before, this is the part where I said like this was the easier way of me doing it than trying to change all of the different ones different ones that I did earlier, where I literally could have just used those ones and it didn't mean that I needed to do all of that at all in the beginning, but you know, you learn. You learn. So these rocks are from Journey to Batu. I really was trying to find things that had like that mossy kind of algae look to it, and these ones I thought matched really nicely. They're the only thing from that pack that I use. I think I might use the smaller rocks that are next to it in the catalogue in the bottom of the like the pond, but if you don't have Journey to Batu, you know, there's plenty of other rocks that you can replace this with if you don't have that pack. So I have been getting a few comments on the gallery lately from people that don't have packs and want to download some of my builds, so I don't know whether it's something that people are unaware of, but if you click on the pack icon on the gallery page for whatever build you're looking at, and then you can see which items from that pack are being used. If you don't have the particular pack, you know, that's used in that build, then you can decide for yourself based on what you can see, you know, items used. You can decide whether that's worth, you know, it being deleted or not. So for example, if you wanted to download this one but you don't have Journey to Batu, that's okay, you know, you can just replace the rocks if you so wish. So yeah, I didn't know that that feature existed until a little while ago, so I imagine that I'm not the only one. I'm sure other people didn't know either. So now we are doing some landscaping. So I wanted to create like a garden sort of thing in the back here, but I realized that I didn't really have that much space. So I end up creating like a little kind of garden in the back here. I haven't included any like gardening things back here. It's literally just like a nice place to sit with some flowers. So, you know, obviously you can add whatever you like. I spent way too long trying to figure out terrain paint, so it's literally just this dirt that you can see I'm using now. It's like mud, and then the tiny little paving stones. So I didn't really do like too much. But these are from Jungle Adventure, I think, and there's just, you know, floor vines or ferns, and then I use I think it's a get together bush. There's like a purple kind of plant from Vampires, and then I use all of the plants from the Romantic Garden pack because I wanted it to kind of look very samey. And I really like the flowers, they're just so pretty. I haven't really done much. Oh, I did include a fishing signpost here, and you know, I didn't actually check that it was functional, which I probably should have done. I will check before I upload this to the gallery, so if it's not there, then it's not functional. So oops. But that is pretty much it from me today. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I have included links to the reshade in the description if you would like to see which ones I am using. This build will be on the gallery and the trade files will be on Tumblr. If you want to download it, please make sure Move Objects is on before placing. So please let me know what you think, give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and consider subscribing if you would like to see more content of mine. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time. Bye everyone!